welcome back to another video. I've got my Minecraft world loaded up and I'm gonna be telling you guys about the books that I read this month because they were very bad. I'm not kidding. They were some of the worst things I've ever read in my entire life. Um and while I do that, I've got this Minecraft world um and I was playing a little bit the other day, and so I've got this hill situation by this village, and I'm gonna turn this into my compound. And so I'm gonna get my life together a little bit. This is the loot that I've gathered. It's pretty sick. Um, but I'm gonna tell you guys about the books that I read this month. I read quite a few books this month. Maybe we'll go caving later. That's a sucky cave. What do you think? I need to get my inventory dumped out, and then maybe we go caving and try to get just more crap. But I just need to get a little bit of wood because I have no wood. And then we'll go, and then we'll go exploring in the cave. And let me give you the setup for this Minecraft world. So I have keep inventory on because that's how I want to play, and deal with it. If you don't like it, cry about it. Um so yeah, but that's really like the only like settings change from like just a normal Minecraft world. So yeah. Um that should be enough to dump out our inventory and kind of get things set up how we like it. So let's head back to our spot and dump off our inventory, and then we'll head in the cave. Okay, I've got my inventory dumped off. Let's go head in the cave and see how many resources we can get before I die, and then get um sent back here. Um while I tell you guys about some of the books that I read. First, let me find a cave. We saw one over here. How many books did I read? I read 13 books this month. And only one of them was 5 stars. So this is how things have been going for little old me. Is this cave gonna? All of these caves, honestly. Goodness. Let's go. Maybe this one will. This one. Yep, this one goes down deeper. What? It's not gonna take long. Hang on. Hang on. That did not take long for things to go horribly wrong. Um, dude, this cave is absolute garbage. Like, what is this? Okay, so the first book that I read this month was Scars Like Wings by Aaron Stewart. Um, and I gave this book 3 stars because it had really good characters and I really liked it. Um, So it's about this girl Ava, and her house. So her house burned down, and both her parents died. And it's fiction, but it's really good. I give it 3 stars. I liked it. It wasn't as good as the author's other book that I've read. Um, but basically it's like she has to kind of start over her life. That kind of thing. That is all that's in this spot here. But there's more. We're good. We're good. Anyways, um, focusing on talking about only one thing and then not getting distracted is very difficult. But it's okay. That's scary down there. There's light this way. Oh, 'cause there's. Oh, uh-huh. Mhm. And what we're gonna do by exploring is we're gonna head down, and we go because we have keep inventory on, so we can go until we die. You see? Ow. Um, and so her house burns down, and so she has to like kind of start her life all over at a new school, and she really likes theater, and but she doesn't think that she can like do that anymore. Um, because she has her scars from, you know, the fire. But she eventually, in the end, and this video is disclaimer going to have spoilers in it. So if you will die if you hear a spoiler, then I don't know, figure it out. You've been warned. Um, but she ends up figuring out that she can in fact still do theater, and so she does. We're gonna go through the really skinny thing here. Okay. Um, and the characters in this book were like fantastic, and I really liked um all of the characters in this book. They were really well written and they were really well done. It just loops around, and I went through the. Okay. Anyway, we'll get like a lot of coal, which will be really useful for later in the game when we work on the compound. Maybe in another episode, maybe I'll just do it. I don't know. You can't predict me. So yeah. The second book that I read this month um was a 4-star read. It was Girls Stolen by April Henry. So it's about this girl Cheyenne who she's blind, um, and she's got pneumonia. So she's not doing too well. Um, and she's at the store get it and with her mom or with her stepmom, um, getting her like medication. Um, when this guy Griffin, um, steals the car with her in it. He just takes it and he just leaves. He takes it and he runs. Um, which is a slight issue for Cheyenne considering she's doesn't. Oh goodness. We'll want to go down there because maybe we can get some diamonds. Because I'd like to have like decent stuff for making. Because I have like ideas for the compound. Of course, there's mobs in here. think if we want diamonds, we want to go as low as we can. I need to... Okay. Because we want to make our way... down there, I think. But anyway. So, she gets accidentally kidnapped. And then Griffin figures out, wait, there's a human being in the car. That's kind of an issue. I'm just trying to get to where I don't die if I fall down here. Because it's kind of bad right now. But we'll dig around. We'll be alright. Okay, so she gets accidentally kidnapped. And so Griffin takes her to his house with the car because he's like, I don't know what to do with this. Because he accidentally, didn't just steal a car, he stole a person. Which could, be an issue. And so it turns out that his father is like this, big crime guy. And so he's like, you know what, we're gonna just keep this girl. Woo! And, he finds out that her dad is like super rich and all that. So he's like, we're gonna hold her for ransom because money. And he wants to not have to do like he's a criminal. He just, he's doing his thing. But Cheyenne is like, no, thank you. She just wants to go home and hang out with her dog. And so she like bides her time for a little while. She's kind of figuring things out, and Griffin is like taking care of her and making sure that she doesn't get assaulted, by like the other guys who work for the like crime guy. Which is pretty nice of him, So Cheyenne like hits him in the head with like a hammer. She gets like a thing and she whacks him with it. And then she like runs off into the woods. And she's blind, so it's, about as effective as you might expect. But she's doing pretty good considering. But Griffin like realizes what's going on and he's like, "Uh-oh." So he goes to try to help her because that's what he was trying. He wanted to help her all along. And so he he manages to he like stumbles across her in the woods. He finds her. And then he's like, "Yo, it's me. I'ma help you out." What the heck is this? This is the most disgusting cave. I'm not doing this. Get me back. And then, so he, manages to like, he's to screw it up. And so he like falls and breaks his ankle in just a random hole. I don't know. I don't know how he managed that, but he managed it. And so he's like, "Yo, Cheyenne, you gotta leave." Like, she can't get them both out. And he's like, "Leave. If they find me, I'll point them in the wrong direction." And so she dips. Um, and the I'm gonna go up because that down path didn't really lead to anything. And I just want, even if I just find like a buttload of iron, like that. Oh, aren't those emeralds? Those are cool. That's a fun find. Anyways, so she like dips and she finds the road, and so she's like, ah! Oh my gosh, that scared me so much, and I thought I was gonna die. But anyways, so she runs into a vehicular, and she's like, "Yo, help me out, dude." And the guy's like, "Hey, I'm the cops, so get in the vehicular, um, and I'll help you out. I've got you." But then turns out the guy who said he was a cop, was actually the Griffin's dad, the bad guy. Um, 'Cause remember she's blind, so like she's going up with pure vibes. Um, I need to make more torches. Oh my gosh. We're gonna run out of wood. That's gonna be our issue. Anyways, but then she gets a hold of his weapon and she's like, "I'm gonna get you. Get out." And so she, she's blind. She runs him over with the car. She gets him. Um, and then um she finds like she gets to the real cops this time. Um, Diamonds. Just one. Dang. Um, and then she, gets to go home and hang out with her dog, and she also gets to take care of Griffin's dog. It's a win-win. She gets to not die, and she gets to hang out with the dogs. She's won twice. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, I give it 4 stars because it was a really good book, and I had a great time. Ah! Goodness. Okay, but you see, this is gonna be I think this is the last. I read one 5-star book later, but um, things don't get better from here. I hang on. Okay, goodness. Hang tight just a second. Okay. I need to make another axe. That's why I'm doing this. So I can make a furnace. There we go. Cause I want it to be iron, so I need to cook up a little bit of this. But anyway, let me tell you about this is, I believe, the 3rd worst book that I read this year or this month. And I gave it 1 star. It's called One of Those Hideous Books Where the Mother Dies by Sonia Sones. And it was, in fact, hideous. Um, so it's about this girl Ruby, and her mom dies, and so she has to go live with this like movie star guy who's her dad, who's got like this really stupid name, and she really doesn't like him because she thinks that he abandoned her. I'm just gonna cook one more, and then we'll be on our way. And so she's like real upset that he's like buying her nice shoes because he's a movie star. So she's like really upset that he's buying her nice shoes. That is her main complaint. Is that she gets nice shoes. That's, you know, what, huh? Why is that your main concern, lady? But that's her main concern. Um, so she's like really she really misses her boyfriend and her best friend. Even though she shouldn't, because turns out her boyfriend and her best friend have been doing it. You know what I mean? Um, and she's like, pretty upset about it. Reasonably so. Um, okay, we're and so she's like, struggling. She really hates her dad for no reason. He's being nothing but nice to her. Um, and um, and then her mom speaks to her in a dream. This is where it got so bad. So the mom speaks to her in a dream and is like, "Leave the house," and so she does, and it's like 2 a.m. So she like just gets up and she just leaves. Um, but then earthquake hits the house, and this book is supposed to take place in California. You know where they get a lot of earthquakes? California. So if there's like a crap ton of earthquakes, wouldn't the buildings be prepared for that? Be prepared for, just as, this like the standard earthquakes. They would be prepared for that. The bookshelves would be bolted into the wall. But apparently no. The bookshelf in like Ruby's room was not bolted into the wall, and it like fell on her bed while she was gone, and so she would have died. But her mom spoke to her in a dream, and Dream Mother saved her life, because that makes total sense. Oh, goodness gracious me. Woo! Oh my gosh. Ugh. So many mobs. Anyways, I say so many mobs. It's one skeleton, and I'm beefy. Anyways, and so her dad somehow knows where she is, so the dad goes off. Okay, I think this might be where our cave exploration ends. Maybe. Considering the health that we've got, we're doing just fine. I'm just kind of gathering all the things because I don't really know how far like this world is going to go, and like, do I want to go down there? I don't want to like just jump down there, but I want to figure out my way down there. Because that looks like a place where there'd be more stuff. It just looks like more stuff would be down there. But I'm gonna mine this gold first, because I don't know. Maybe I'll use it for like some sort of thing. Gold is useful, and I'm not really planning on going to the Nether anytime soon because I gotta have a compound first, and the Nether isn't fun, and I'm here for vibes. If I can mine my way to where I can jump in that water there, that would be great. Anyway, so the dad finds her just like off in like this random spot that she like just ran off to during the earthquake because her mom told her to in a dream. The dead mother. Because that's how that works. And so the dad finds her because he knows where she went somehow. He's just too skilled, I guess. He just, his movie star powers came in clutch. Um and so he's like, "So I know you hate me," but it took him the whole book to like actually like solve the problem and like talk to her. Communication is difficult. And so he decides to talk to her. And do you know what this man says? Ooh, diamonds. He does not say, "Oh, diamonds." But this man, this is the single reason why I gave this book 1 star. Okay, so this man, okay, he's like, you know your mom, right? The woman I married and made a baby with. You know her. So turns out the dad's gay, and that's the plot twist. Gay people exist. Wow, really, really being revolutionary with this one, guys. I see diamonds over there, so I'm just heading straight over there because I see them and I don't want to forget that they're there. Because that's something that I would do. Ow! Hang on. Anyways, so he's like, this woman who I made a baby with, did the things that lead to making a baby. But he really just sees her as a sister. Why did you pick that word? No. I have a feeling that we're not going to be able to get all of these diamonds because I don't want to be roasted. Do I see more diamonds in here? Because what's gonna happen is we're gonna run out of food, and that's gonna be what gets us. But we can always come back into this massive cave system. This is really cool, actually. But I just, and we're gonna run out of torches too. So when we run out of torches, we'll have to stick by the lava. Because we're also didn't bring enough wood, but maybe when we get back up, we'll be able to get like full diamond armor, and I gathered some obsidian on the way back, so we'll get an enchanting table. Okay, so, Mr. My ex-wife, I see her as my sister. This man. Because, of course you do. Diamonds. Even though that's kind of icky. You know? But the book is like, yeah, that's normal. And then we move on. But then, like, in, like, the plot, everything works out, and everything's fine. But the main character is, like, supposed to be 15, and a lot of the other, teenagers, and, like, characters who aren't, like, the movie star dad and his boyfriend, they are supposed to be 15. but then it's the book kind of reinforces like the idea that like a lot of people who are 15 are sleeping with each other when that's just not how that works, and a lot of 15-year-olds are not doing that. And why did we have to one of the characters explicitly stated that like everyone's doing it, but like no, that's that's kind of icky. That's not healthy, and this book really like worked hard to like reinforce that. Um which was quite irritating for me as a reader. Those are my main complaints. This book I think is the third worst cuz I just go in like chronological order, you know? Um and this was the first one-star book that I read this month, but don't worry. It won't be the last. So the next book that I read Definitions of Indefinable Things, and this was the worst book I read this year. And I gave this book 1 star. So, um, in this book we've got our girl, what's her name? Reggie. Um, and she is at the store. She's at CVS specifically. She's picking up her antidepressants, and she meets this guy he's got this really stupid name. Um, he's called Snake, which is hang tight just a minute. I'm just not dealing with that guy. We'll go over here. You know? Because we have to stick by the lava now. Because no torches. And I have no more wood to make torches, which is unfortunate. So we're not going to go in here. We have to stick around like this main area. And sort of gather the stuff around here until eventually we run out of food and die. But I'm not gonna just like throw myself in the lava because that isn't how we're playing the game. That's not what's happening. Anyway, so she's at the CVS and she meets this guy Snake at the CVS. He's also picking up antidepressants, and they're like kind of flirting in the way that like he's being mean to her and she's kind of bullying him. Um, And Snake is like, yo, go on a date with me. And she's like, no. And he's like, you're gonna go on a date with me. And he just kind of won't leave it alone until she goes on a date with him. And so he kind of forces her to go on a date with him. And then he forces her to kiss him. You know, which, is very illegal. Very, very uncomfortable. I only came in here because I saw diamonds. But then we can't really stay in here because, no torches. But I wanted the diamond. So anyway, we'll go back to the lava where we can see. Anyways, so then she goes on a date with him. And oh, this water is so annoying. Oh my gosh. I'm just kind of wondering. Oh, there's diamonds there. We'll have to go over there in a sec. So she goes on a date with him, and she's like thinking about him a lot, and she really likes him. But turns out he has a pregnant girlfriend. He didn't break up with her before starting to date our main character. What the heck? That's really icky. And so he has like two girlfriends at the same time, and they're both kind of cool with it. They like neither of them really. Ow. Neither of them really. It doesn't bother either of them for some reason. Um. Um. So he's just casually dating two people at the same time for like the literally the entire book. I'm not even kidding. Um. And so the main character also spends a lot of time just hating her mom because um because her mom's a Christian, and that's literally the only reason that the main character has right now to be upset at her mom. That's not a good reason. You can be upset, but it wasn't articulating why she was upset at her mom correctly. It was like she's upset at her mom because her mom's trying to pray for her. That's not a really that's not a good enough reason for me. Um and I would just have appreciated a better reason for sure. Um but we don't get a better reason. Um Even though like it would make sense for the main character to maybe be upset at her mom because her mom doesn't like Snake because Snake has two moms because his moms are gay. Um and so Reggie's mom is like and she's like upset about it for some reason. She doesn't really like that. And so that's a reason to kind of be a little bit upset. But what's not a reason to be upset is because she's trying to help you. You know, it doesn't really make like a whole lot of sense to me. We're retracing our steps because that lava spot I think is pretty much over. I don't think there's really much left in here. But we're not, you know what, we're just not gonna eat the last two pork chops. A potato! I don't know if we already have potatoes. We could. But either way, it's kind of fun. It's a fun drop, you know? What are we gonna do about it, you know? But anyway. Reggie's just kind of being a jerk the entire time, and Snake's being a jerk, and like, what the heck? And then Reggie goes off and she sleeps with Snake for no reason because his pickup lines are just calling her hideous. That's the end of this, really. Oh gosh. And for some reason, she's like, "Yeah, that's hot that he calls me hideous." Like, I'm sorry, sir. What? It's the worst pickup line. Like it's hard to get worse than that. What's it? Okay. We're going back to base. Anyways, here we are back at base. Okay, our tree grew. So I think maybe we'll go back in a cave in a minute, but um but um we've got to get some stuff going first. We've got to get our lives together a little bit. Can I is it no, it's not sleep brain. Anyways, so main characters are insufferable, okay? And then so when I remember where I was in my explanation. So Reggie is off you know, doing it with Snake. Like they're off doing you know what they're doing. Um when the mom calls and is like, "So your dad is in the hospital and because he had a heart attack and he's gonna die." Um, and so Reggie's like, "What?" And she's upset about this. And so she goes to the hospital, and her dad doesn't die. He's fine. And her mom is like, "So you know how you're depressed, Reggie? Selfish." And I'm like, "Excuse me. You don't tell people that they're selfish for having a health condition. That's not a cool move, lady." Maybe Reggie was right about hating her, because what was that? You can't say that. That's not appropriate. That's not helpful at all. But then Reggie is like, "Yeah, you're right," and then she just kind of stops, because that's how that works. Obvious. That's not how. What the heck? It didn't really make a whole lot of sense, like, at all. But that's what happened. And then Snake's pregnant girlfriend, who like hasn't really broken up with, like, he was dating two people at the same time. She gives birth. And Reggie's there because they're friends now. Because they're friends because they're both dating the same guy. Um, and so, um, and so they give, she gives birth. Okay, the pregnant girlfriend gives birth. Um, and so, and that's how Snake's depression was cured, because we're going down there next. Because his pregnant girlfriend gave birth, and then so he has a baby, and so that cured his depression, because that's how that works. It was really upsetting. Because that's really not how that works, like, at all. Um, but the book would like you to think that that is, in fact, how that works. Okay. Let's, um, no, we're not making that. We're making a couple pickaxes, because we're gonna go back down. And we'll just make an iron. We'll just complete the iron set. And then we should also, what's probably good to bring is a bucket, because then we can get some. Let's head over to the village, get some water. Anyway, and so they live happily ever after, because of course they do. I'm gonna avenge this village is eventually. That poor guy down there. What? This village is eventually going to be part of the empire, so I can do, like, villager trading, because isn't that, like, good? I'm just looking to see if there's water up here, because sometimes villages have a little bit of water in the. We can just boink, because that'll be helpful for the cave that we go in. Anyways, so that book was the worst book I've ever read, because it was so problematic and it had cheating in it. And cheating is my least favorite thing, and don't even get me started on it. Because we'll be here all day. Even more than we already are here all day. We'll be here more all day. Anyways. Um. Anyways, we need to get going into that cave. Um. just, we'll leave that stuff. We'll sleep first. So anyway, the next book I read was just kind of mid. It was a 2-star read. It was The Pale-Faced Lie by David Crow, and this one was a true story. And it wasn't really like, it was an interesting story, but it wasn't really well written, and there were a lot of elements about it that I really strongly did not care for. So David was, it's like a his dad kind of sucked, like a lot, and like and so because the dad was is an ex-convict, and so the dad like was not kind to David, and like they like abandoned the mom, and the mom had like a mental illness. Hopefully this cave leads us somewhere. And then next what we'll do is we'll eventually have to start planning the house. Maybe I'll do that off camera, maybe it won't. I don't know. Anyways, so I hope this leads somewhere. It looks kind of promising that it'll go down, because it's going down really far. Okay. We'll for sure replenish our coal that we used on all these torches and cooking our stuff. But it was just kind of mid, and I really didn't like how in the end David just forgave his father, but his father hadn't done anything to earn forgiveness other than like being on his deathbed, and but he didn't deserve. I didn't think that he deserved forgiveness because he hadn't even like he didn't even confess to like doing anything, but he was doing stuff that was wrong. But then it's a good opening back into where we were. Woo. Hang on, just a second. Anyways, it was just kind of mid. I don't really have any feelings about it. Really strong feelings at all. That's really the only thing about it that I didn't like. But the next book I read was also mid. It was also 2 stars. Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. This book I like was more annoying than than the last book I talked about. So got this girl Sam. She's got OCD, but she's like hiding it from everyone because she's like ashamed of it. But then she meets this girl Caroline, who like shows her this like secret area where all like the school outcasts they like write poetry and like share their poetry together. And so she's like, yo, I'm gonna join this thing. And so she kind of like shoves her way into it. And Caroline like helps her out. And she like kind of figures things out, and she like gets a boyfriend. She just like her life together. Plot twist: Caroline isn't real. Because of course she's not. So Caroline isn't real, right? And so, and Caroline's been dead for like 10 years. And so, our main character Sam, she's like really upset about this because Caroline was her friend, but she never knew Caroline because Caroline was all in her head the whole time, and it's like a whole thing. And yeah, but then she doesn't. But then she cured her anxiety by getting a boyfriend. And because her anxiety is cured, she doesn't need Caroline anymore. So she just kind of like moves on with her life and is totally fine. Why do all these books do this to me? That's not how anxiety works at all. the whole point. Is that's not how that works. Why are we pretending that that is how that works when that's not how that works? It's really annoying. But anyway, I gave the book 2 stars because I was having a good time until that revelation. Next book I read, I gave 2 stars. It was The Girl I Used to Be by April Henry. And so it's this girl Olivia, and so her parents were murdered and like a long time ago. And so she's like, "Yo, I want to know who did it." Which is, probably pretty fair. She wants to know who killed her parents. Um, you know, you do that. And so she like just kind of interrogates people in the town where they were in the town where her parents were murdered. And no one is like, why is this random girl asking questions about this murder that happened like 10 years ago? What's going on? They're all like, yeah, that makes sense. That's just a normal thing that normal people do, is question the murder from 10 years ago. Um and she like goes into the woods where they were murdered just to like check it out, and she runs into the police chief there. Um and the police chief tries to kill her, and so she calls her boyfriend. And the big strong man saves her, but like almost dies, but he helps. He saves her from the other big strong man. Um and so the murders, it was like a hunting accident, and he was like, what's a good idea? I'm gonna hide the bodies. And so we did. How did I even get here? I don't know. I'm stuck. Let me out. Maybe I can go up there. That looks like where I could go. I need new cave. Take me to new cave. New cave? I've been here, but I see resources, so new cave. Looks like I haven't done this whole thing, so we're good. Okay, so big strong man saves her. And there was like no suspense, and it was just kind of boring, and I just wasn't interested. Which is really sad considering that the other April Henry book that I read this month, was really good, and it was 4 stars. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what she did on this one that like made it be such a flop. That made me really not like it, but I really didn't like this one. What is this thing? Is it gonna open up a little bit? Yeah, it looks like it is. Okay. I should probably go back into the big thing and maybe get more diamonds, because then I can like get like fancy things. But this will open up into a big thing, so we're good. Anyways, that was that book, and then this is the 5-star book that I read, is How Dared the Sun Rise. And so this was a really good book. Oh goodness gracious me. That's where I was before, I think. Yeah, that's the big thing that I was down there before, I think. Oh. Um um and it's a true story about um this massacre, and I think like Rwanda, like in that area of Africa. And it's a true story, and it's really good, and I give it 5 stars. So I'm not gonna like spoil it because read it. And it's goodness, because it was really good, and so just read it. Um, and then the next book I read, All You Never Wanted. This was the second worst book that I read this month. I also should say that the worst book that I read this month was the worst book I've ever read in my entire life. So, this is the third worst book I read this month, though. It's called All You Never Want. Was this the worst book? Hang on. I don't think it was. No, this wasn't the worst book I've ever read. Surprisingly, Look, I've read so many 1-star books this month. I got confused for a second, but this book was 1 star. It was like number 4 on the list, I think. All You Never Wanted by Adele Griffin. So, you've got these two sisters. They don't really have like separate personalities. Ah! Skeleton, die. Anyways, ugh. Skellies. Anyways. Oh my gosh. Sir, I am trying to explain my thoughts on a book, and you are making me lose my train of thought. And I can't have that. Because this is important. Okay, so you got these two sisters. But they don't have separate personalities, or really personalities at all. They just Alex just likes to cheat on her boyfriend, and then Thea just likes to sleep with her sister's boyfriend. And that's everything you need to know about this book, and don't read it because it's really bad. I would rather not read about minors sleeping with each other, personally. That's kind of gross to me. And I would rather not have anything to do with that. And so this book was just really bad, but it's not like offensively bad, kind of. Splish! I'm not doing the underwater ravine, but I'm gonna like. What if we went? What's? Aha! Aha! Maybe there'll be diamonds down here. We like diamonds. This is like the area we were at. Feels like the area we were at before, kind of, but anyways, the next book I read was just really mid. It was Hidden by Miriam Halami. So it's supposedly the main characters in this book are supposed to be 14. They don't act 14. They don't sound 14. They don't behave like 14-year-olds. Like that's not how 14-year-olds act. I'm sorry. With all due respect, that's not how. This isn't how 14-year-olds act. So these 14-year-olds, who don't act like 14-year-olds, so they're like chilling, doing their thing, you know. I think I want to, cause isn't it? We want to go down deep. Yeah, I'm so good. This is where I was before, I think, but I'll have torches this time. And so we can kind of like go off and explore like this area over here. So, like there's many a thing for us to explore. I don't think I need like a whole lot of redstone, so I'm going to pass up some of it, but then mine some of it with no rhyme or reason because I don't follow patterns or rules. I do follow rules. I don't follow patterns. Anyway, so this book with the 14-year-olds, okay? With the 14-year-olds who don't act like they're 14-year-olds. So, I went down here before. Ugh. So they find this guy on the beach who he almost drowns because he's trying his best. But turns out he's a refugee, and so they're like, we're just gonna hide this guy in the shed because sometimes like they deport people, and they're like, we don't want to risk it. We're just gonna put him in the shed. And so they put him in the shed. Okay, I've been here before too. I need new cave. I think this way should be new cave. Looks dark over here. Plus we have mobs. If we have mobs, it's gotta be new cave. Yeah, I think this might do something. We have iron, so we can get something. Anyway, this will set us up for a while. Um, and so they hide him in the shed, and they hide him in the shed for like a long time. Like they're not quitters. Um, these people who are totally 14, they're not quitters. You know, good for them. This should drain and then. Hopefully there's more cave down here, otherwise this is awkward. Oh, there's definitely more cave down here. Or do we want to go this way? We'll start with this way. Anyways. And so they hide the guy. This is gonna end here, isn't it? Anyways, caving, it's hard. Minecraft is hard. And so he eventually does get discovered, but then everyone is like in the town is like not trash, and they're like, you know, we're gonna help this guy, and then they don't deport him, which is good. And so, you know, happily ever after for this man and the 14-year-olds because they're heroes because they hit a man in the shed. Maybe this will be new cave up here. New cave? I've been here. I think that was somewhere that didn't work out. I'm really struggling to find someplace to find a new cave. But you can still just watch content. I run around. Anyways, so yeah, that was that book. The next book that I read Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and maybe this is a hot take, but Gone Girl is not as good as Sharp Objects. I've been told this is a hot take. But it is in fact my take. So, you know, do with that what you will. This looks like New Cave. Oh gosh, no. Why does the noise echo for so long? I need to eat food. I need to heal. I'd like to have maximum health when fighting people. Oh goodness. Hey, just hang tight just a second. I know, I sat in silence for a minute. It's a-okay. Woo! New cave! Anyways, so Gone Girl it was still really good. So, it's this married couple, and the lady, the wife, Amy, she goes missing. She just kind of disappears on their 5th wedding anniversary. And Nick is like, "What?" And everyone's like, "Well, it's the husband because it's always the husband." But plot twist, this time it's not the husband. This time it was the wife who disappeared. Who she decided that a completely so the Nick, the husband, okay, he was cheating on her. Why does every book I read have cheating in it at this time? I don't know, but it's fine. Everything's fine. But basically, she's like real upset that he cheated, natural, she's allowed to be upset that he cheated on her, that's okay. Um, but then, but she decides to fake her own disappearance and try to get him framed for murder because she just kind of decides to. I don't. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but you know, that's what happens. And so Nick is like, I think my wife is framing me for her own murder. Um, but then everyone else is like, that doesn't make any sense, dude. Why would, why would your wife be framing you for murder? Why on earth would she do that? It doesn't really make like a whole lot of sense to like normal people. Like, why would she be doing that? Um, but she did because she's like just that kind of person, I guess. I don't know. It's fine. And so Amy just kind of does it just as like a power trip, and she just wants to like get Nick back under her thumb after he cheated on her. And so she gets pregnant at the end, and so he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna live with the psychopath and never divorce her forever because she's gonna have my baby, and it's a boy, and I want to raise him." And he can't like prove that like she sucks. Um, so he just kind of decides to just give up because diamonds. He just kind of decides to give up because of child, and then the end. Because he wants to make sure that his son isn't trash. And to do so, he must raise his son himself and not let the wife do all of it. And so he's like, "Yeah, it's fine now. Everything I'm good with it now." He's cool with it now. He's cool with his wife being kind of insane. And he's okay with it now. He's totally cool. Um Next book I read. Okay, this was the second worst book that I read this year. So The Easy Part of Impossible by Sarah Tomp. So um you've got this girl Rhea, and she's like really good at diving, and diving's her thing. Like, she is supposed to be 17, and she's like Olympic level good. Like, this is her thing, and this is all she does. This is her entire personality, is she likes to jump into the water fancy. Good for her. I can't. So um but this like her diving coach, who her parents like pay special to like teach her to be good, this guy Benny, he's like abusive, and he like hits her. He like, he's kind of a turd. And by kind of I mean completely a turd. Um, but she's like, it's good that he does it because it makes her stronger. That's not how that works at all. Why? Um, and so she like messes up and like kind of freaks out at like a diving thing, and she like dips, and so she just decides, because she made one mistake, it's time to quit forever. And so she decided to quit forever, and so she quits forever, and she just kind of gives up on everything. But then she meets this guy. She like rediscovers that he exists. Cause she knew him in like elementary school. So she's like hanging out with this man, and they're like, let's go caving, cause that's like their thing, is they are gonna go caving. Um, and so they're like exploring this cave. Um, kind of like what I'm doing right now. And so she's really enjoying the caving, you know. Um, but then Benny like won't leave her alone. He like keeps showing up and being like, "Why'd you quit? Why'd you quit?" Like, yeah, you know, like you're quitting. You know, just kind of being kind of annoying and just kind of showing up out of the blue for no reason whatsoever. Um, and so, but her friendship with the caving guy, you know, very quickly in the span of like 2 days, turns into something. You know, turns into little bit. You know, they're flirting. She like can't stop thinking about him. I need to make an axe. Hang tight. I'll just do a stone one. It'll do the job. Because I don't feel like making another furnace and cooking the iron right now. Why don't I make a diamond axe? What am I doing? Let's just make a diamond one. And I'm not taking that. Stay. I have enough diamonds to just make a diamond axe. And so they're going caving. And she's like kind of still thinking about diving because, you know, it's her entire personality. Um, but while they're in the cave, so they're like exploring, and there's like this water portion. She like jumps in it because she's reckless like that. She just kind of decided to, and so she's like cold, right? And this man, okay, um, he is like, you know, the best way to warm up is skin to skin contact. Uh, and then he starts touching her feet, and it's icky. It made me uncomfortable. I didn't like it. And he needed to stop. This cave is kind of getting insane here. Like, oh my goodness. Oh, and then are we... Hang on, there's mobs over here. We're gonna need to hang tight. This axe is quite good. And so after that really, awkward scene where he touches her feet, they, like, cuddle. But then there's this other guy who's just, like, standing there watching. Like, what? Just way too much. And then eventually, she has to, like, tell her parents, like, what Benny's been doing to her for the last, like, 10 years. And they're like, hang on, what? That's not okay. I think I see diamonds over here. Hang tight. There are diamonds over here. Which is very nice. Because I just want to have them. We'll be able to get, like, good stuff with them. Anyways, and so her parents are, like, real upset, you know? They're like, how could this man, like, why is this man like this? Like, can we not? Um, he's trash, and so they fire him, and he, like, gets in a little bit of trouble, but not that much trouble. He just can't teach diving anymore. But he still gets to be in, like, society. After he, like, abused the child. Like, he beat up a child, like, a bajillion times. Like, there's diamonds over there. Okay. I don't want to go over there, though. We'll make our... it's just too much. Because this is the big open thing from earlier. Oh my gosh. This caving system is going to be, like, how we get stuff. We're not going to be able to, like... strip mine or anything, because well, we probably won't need to, like, ever. Is there maybe a new cave? I just want new cave. New cave? I see darkness over there. We'll head over there. I just don't want to deal with the lava right now. We're not heading up. We're heading this way. Ew. Anyways. So that was that book, and it was really problematic, and it took the main character, like, literally the entire book, before she only really half accepted that, like, people aren't supposed to hit you, and they're being trash when they do. Like, why did it take her so long to figure that out? Like, that's not really a good message, and it's a young adult book too, which is where it's, you know, arguably even more important. I see water this way, so maybe this will open up to more cave, or even just the same cave. Oh my gosh! Mobs. Okay, I read one more book this month, so let me just. This book was really good. It's kind of hard to explain, like, the premise of it, but it's A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. So, you've got this, like, child, and his mom has cancer, and so he's, like, you know, having kind of a hard time. You know, he's having a rough time. You know, as expected. He's helping her out. He's doing a good job. Hopefully this cave goes somewhere. But then, like, this tree, like, talks to him, and he, like, learns, you know, a lot of life lessons, and then the ending is really sad, but I'm not gonna tell you what happens, because that literally ruins the book if I tell you what happens at the ending. But the ending is, oh my gosh, just absolutely ridiculous. In a good way. It's just emotional. And it's really a really good book. And I gave it 4.5 stars. So that's all the books that I read. Oh, new cave that I read this month. So you're just gonna get some good old gameplay. That's just a hole. Okay. This way, cave, 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 cave. Cave. Okay. Glub, glub, glub. Get me out of the water. Ah! I fell. Minecraft. What are you doing? Oh, look at this guy. Hello, sir. I'm just kind of heading. Like, I don't know where else to go in this place. Like, I've talked about all the books. I'm just kind of seeing if this opens up to any more, like, land areas. Whoa, which it looks like it does. Cowabunga. Maybe it does. Who knows? I don't know anymore. Ah! We're back. We're back up, so anyway, let me just like goodness gracious. I'll build my house out of this kind of stuff. Um Loot. This is my loot. Whole, a nice even stack of diamonds. That's epic. Um Let me just like um dump stuff off and um then we'll be good to go. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed me talking about the books that I read. If you have something book that's good that you would really like to see me rant about, or even a book that's bad that you really want to see me rant about, you know, let me know. Let me know in the comments and oh goodness. I almost fell off the cliff. This is not anyways. Uh Subscribe.